This video is sponsored by Squarespace. The term serial killer emerged in 1979 when American police FBI agents spent a decade interviewing notorious killers in the United States. In analyzing the interviews, the agents, who wanted to trace the psychological profile of sadistic criminals, discovered common characteristics in crimes of multiple homicides, usually violent, cruel, and apparently without motive. The term serial killer defines the criminal who commits at least 3 murders in sequence, with similar characteristics: excessive brutality, impulsiveness, coldness, and sadism. However, until that time, only male criminals have been interviewed. But throughout history, several women who have committed barbaric acts may fit the definition of a serial killer. We have decided to list the 5 most dangerous lady killers in history. Creating a website has never been easier. With Squarespace, you will have access to amazing templates for all tastes and purposes, and you can create your blog, personal website, or the website of your business. If you create content like I do, then Squarespace offers exclusive areas for their community members, where you can interact easily and efficiently. They also allow you to contribute with your projects via PayPal, Apple Pay, Stripe, and Venmo. The Squarespace blogging platform allows your content to reach further and further, thanks to customizable buttons that allow you to easily share your content on the most popular social media platforms. Squarespace also provides all the tools to create your online store and advertise all your products easily and securely. Check out squarespace.com for a free trial. Click the link in the description or go to squarespace.com/seeyouinhistory to save 10% off of your first purchase of a website or domain. Be sure to share your stories, creations, or products with the world and increase your online presence with Squarespace. Fifth on this list is Belle Gunness, also known as Bluebeard Lady. In the middle of the 19th century, the lady killer killed almost 50 people and got away with it, in one of America's greatest mysteries. Belle Gunness's early life is surrounded by speculation. It is known that she was born in Norway on November the 11th, 1859. It is believed that she moved to the United States in 1881 after being attacked by a man and losing her baby. This fact completely changed Belle's personality. The serial killer was literally a big woman. She was unbelievably 1.83 meters. Belle commanded fear and respect in Chicago. Most of the Norwegian woman's crimes had a very specific motive: money. She killed her 2 husbands and all their children, as well as countless boyfriends and suitors, all to keep the money from their life insurance policies or spare change in their pockets. There were said to be more than 20 victims, but only half a dozen deaths have been confirmed, including those of her 2 daughters, Myrtle and Lucy. The killer was not tried, much less arrested. She died supposedly in an arson fire, but her body was missing her head, which was never found again. In addition to this, the reporter noted that the corpse on the stretcher was somewhat smaller than Belle's. A mystery. In 4th place is Catherine Deshayes, better known as La Voisine, the mother of poisons. On February the 22nd, 1680, a woman is burned alive in a Parisian square, accused of sorcery and poisoning. Born Catherine Deshayes 40 years earlier, she was known in the Saint-Denis district, a place of all the trafficking, by her husband's nickname, La Voisine. Although seemingly banal for the time, the event caused great repercussions in the social context. The reason? Catherine, who had grown rich by performing abortions and selling poisons, decided, before she died, to denounce several of her clients. Many of them, men and women, belonged to the French aristocracy. Even Louis XIV's mistress, Madame de Montespan, was mentioned. The denunciations had surprising repercussions. The poison case developed between 1679 to 1682. After a series of suspicious deaths at court, Louis XIV ordered an investigation to be opened to find who was responsible for the poisonings. The thread ended at Catherine. In La Voisine's house were found jars of fat, feces, blood, and human semen. In addition, there was a huge furnace with the remains of newborn babies. Under interrogation, Catherine confessed that, in addition to abortions, she also sacrificed babies in her black masses. After 24 hours of torture, Catherine admitted to being guilty of killing 2,000 newborn babies and selling poisons that victimized hundreds of people. La Voisine was tried in the Chambre Ardente court. But she didn't fall silent. She snitched who she could. La Voisine was sentenced to death and burned at the stake on charges of witchcraft and poisoning. In third place is Madame Lalaurie. Delphine Lalaurie was born in New Orleans, United States in 1775 during the Spanish colonial period. She belonged to the family of politicians of the region and was therefore respected and prestigious. She went down in history as one of the most vicious serial killers for committing evil acts against her slaves. It is estimated that she killed about 100 people, including men, women, and children. She would host numerous parties for members of high society, who would then claim to have seen Lalorie's slaves being treated brutally. The guests described them as dejected and miserable. One account said that the enslaved people were chained by the stove so they could prepare food. On one occasion, a 70-year-old lady set her house on fire to attempt suicide. In summary, funeral records over a 4-year period in the early 1830s showed that a total of 12 slaves in the Lalaurie family died during this period, 5 of whom were relatives. After the fire, the Madame's home was raided by neighbors, who reported seeing the enslaved people in deplorable conditions. Madame and her family eventually fled to Paris. What we know about Lalaurie after the raid of her residence is uncertain. She probably died in 1842 without ever having paid for the crime she committed. Second on the list is Mary Ann Cotton, England's first serial killer. 2 decades before Jack the Ripper became England's most feared serial killer, Mary Ann Cotton was already a killing machine. She made death her modus operandi, her way of life. Mary Ann Cotton was not soft. At 20, she married William Mowbray and started a beautiful family. She had 5 children. 4 of them died of gastric fever and stomach pains. Strange, but at the time, no one thought it suspicious. Mary Ann had 3 other children who also died. Then it was William, who died from intestinal disease in 1865. The Englishwoman received the pension money and went on with her life, marrying George Ward soon after. But George died of the same ailment as William, as did his wife's last 2 sons. The press got weirded out. It was about time, right? They researched Mary Ann's past and unearthed an impressive history. She had lost 3 husbands, a lover, a friend, her mother, and her 12 children, all from gastric fever. The result? She was slowly hanged in 1873, accused of committing multiple murders by poisoning. It is believed that she used arsenic to commit the murders. The poison was tasteless, and the symptoms were the same as common diseases of the time, such as typhoid fever. First on this list is Countess Elizabeth Bathory, better known as the Countess of Blood. Elizabeth Bathory was born in 1560 in Eyüptor, a town in Transylvania, now Hungary. She had a noble background, and her Protestant family had an esteemed social value and exerted a strong influence on society. Several blue-blooded nobles have shed a lot of red blood throughout history, but Countess Elizabeth was one of the only women of royalty to become a serial killer, according to the term created in the 20th century. The Countess's crimes peaked when she was around 40 years old. Bathory would lure young girls between 10 and 14 years old and virgins to her castle, where she would torture and kill them. About 650 girls were killed by the serial killer, the largest number attributed to a female killer in history. The sadistic sessions would end with the girls starving or freezing to death. Then came the morbid task that earned Elizabeth Bathory her nickname, the Countess of Blood. The murderess would bathe in the blood of her victims in an attempt to slow the aging process. Elizabeth was never tried. In 1610, she was subjected to a kind of house arrest in a castle in Slovakia. She remained there until she died 4 years later. But there is a theoretical line that disputes these claims, claiming that Elizabeth's crimes were the result of unfounded rumors because she was extremely wealthy and influential at a time when women could not appear to have any power.